Look into the eyes of the masses in the year 2026, and you will see a haunting fear, the fear of being forgotten. People spend their entire lives performing, wearing masks of success, and shouting into the digital void, desperate to leave a mark. But the harder they try to be remembered, the faster they fade from the minds of others. They are like footprints in the sand, erased by the first wave of a new trend. But Christopher knows a different way. True influence is not about being seen, it is about being felt long after you have left the room. It is the architecture of an unforgettable presence. Why is it that some men can speak for hours and leave no trace, while others say a single sentence and haunt your thoughts for years? The secret is not in the words, but in the weight behind them. Most people are empty vessels, echoing the opinions of the crowd. But the sovereign individual is a solid monolith. He does not seek to be remembered, he simply is. In 2026, the most unforgettable thing you can be is authentic in a world of copies. When you stop performing for the world starts paying attention to you. You become a reference point, a silent anchor in a chaotic sea. To be unforgettable, you must first become a mystery that the world cannot solve. The tragedy of modern existence is the constant need for validation. We have built a civilization of performers who believe that if they are not documented, they do not exist. But Christopher observes that the most powerful entities in history were always those who remained partially in the shadows. Think of the wind, you cannot see it, but you can see the trees bow before it. Your presence should be like that wind. You do not need to announce your arrival with trumpets, the change in the atmosphere should be your calling card. In 2026, the man who is comfortable in his own skin, who does not scan the room for approval, becomes a gravitational force. Others begin to orbit him, not because he asks them to, but because his certainty is a rare and precious resource in an age of doubt. When you realize that you are enough, you stop trying to impress and start to impact. Impression is a surface-level flicker, impact is a deep-seated resonance. To be unforgettable, you must stop being an echo and start being the voice that the silence has been waiting for. In this age of oversharing, where every thought is a post and every meal is a broadcast, silence is the ultimate luxury. And mystery? Mystery is the ultimate power. The man who tells everything about himself has no shadows for the imagination of others to play in. He is a book already read, a story already told. But the man who holds back, the man who listens more than he speaks, creates an aura of gravity that pulls others toward him. Christopher observes that in 2026, people are starving for depth. When you refuse to explain yourself, when you maintain a calm indifference to the opinions of the common man, you trigger an ancient instinct in those around you. They want to know your secret. They want to understand what makes you so unshakable. This is how you build a presence that lasts. It is not about being the loudest, it is about being the most certain. In a room full of people seeking validation, the man who provides his own validation is a king. Your presence must be a challenge to the mediocrity of the world. You do not need to be famous to be unforgettable. You only need to be so firmly rooted in your own truth that your absence is felt like a sudden loss of light. Information is the enemy of intrigue. If people know your every move, they think they know your every thought. But the sovereign mind operates in the quiet spaces between the public's noise. Christopher understands that influence is built on what you don't say. When you leave things unsaid, you invite others to fill in the blanks with their own respect and awe. In 2026, the person who can sit in a room and remain comfortable in the silence is the one who holds the power. Most people speak to fill the void, but the master uses the void to amplify his presence. Do not be afraid to be misunderstood, be afraid of being too easily understood. To be easily understood is to be easily categorized, and to be categorized is to be dismissed. Maintain the sacred distance. Let your actions speak with a volume that your words could never reach. When you become a man of mystery, you become a permanent inhabitant of the minds of those who encounter you. They will spend their nights trying to decode your strength, and in doing so, they will make you eternal. To be unforgettable, you must become unpredictable. The human brain is an efficient machine, it filters out everything that is familiar and repetitive. If you act like everyone else, the world's collective mind simply deletes you to save space. Christopher teaches that the architect of influence understands the power of the unexpected. In 2026, society expects you to be hungry for status, desperate for likes, and terrified of social rejection. When you show up with zero hunger for their approval, you shatter their mental categories. You become an anomaly, a glitch in their social programming. They cannot categorize you, so they cannot forget you. This is the unlearning we spoke of, unlearning the need to fit in. When you stand in your own power, unaffected by the storms of public opinion, you leave a psychological scar on everyone you encounter. Not a scar of pain, but a scar of awe. They will go home and wonder why they feel so small in your presence. They will wonder why their riches feel like copper compared to your inner gold. You are not just a man, you are a reminder of what they have lost, their own sovereignty. And that, my friend, is a memory that no time can erase. The system thrives on predictability. It wants to know exactly how you will react to fear, to pleasure, and to social pressure. But Christopher encourages you to develop a radical internal independence. When the world expects a reaction and you offer only a calm, observant silence, you have won the battle for dominance. This is the art of non-reaction we studied, applied to the social sphere. In 2026, the most unforgettable people are those who cannot be manipulated by the standard triggers of shame or pride. You must be like a mountain, the weather changes around it, the clouds come and go, but the mountain remains. This steadfastness is terrifying to those who are controlled by their emotions. It makes you an enigma, a lighthouse in a sea of shifting sands. When you shatter the expectation that you can be influenced, you become the influencer. You are no longer part of the background noise, you are the frequency that defines the room. Your unshakability is your signature, written in the minds of everyone who tried, and failed, to move you. In the harsh and transactional world of 2026, most people are forgettable because they offer nothing but their own needs. They are consumers of attention, beggars of validation. But the sovereign man is a donor of presence. Christopher has observed that you are not remembered for what you take from people, but for how you make them feel about themselves in your absence. When you stand in your truth, you act as a mirror. If a man is weak, your strength will make him feel his own weakness. If a man is hollow, your depth will make him feel his own emptiness. This is why some fear you, while others are drawn to you like moths to a flame. You do not need to do anything, your existence is the catalyst. To be unforgettable, you must be a man of consequences. Your words must have weight, your silence must have meaning, and your actions must leave a permanent mark on the reality of others. Think of the great architects of history, they did not build for the applause of their contemporaries, they built for the eyes of the unborn. You must build your character with the same long-term vision. When you stop living for the moment and start living for eternity, your every move takes on a quality of timelessness. You become a ghost that haunts the future, a legend that begins even before you are gone. The secret to this emotional resonance is detachment. The more you want from people, the more forgettable you become. But when you want nothing, your value becomes infinite. Christopher understands that in 2026, the greatest power is the power to walk away. The man who can leave the table without looking back is the man who stays in everyone's mind forever. Why? Because he is the only thing they could not buy. He is the only variable they could not control. By being uncontrollable, you become unforgettable. Your independence is a challenge to the world's order. You are the one who didn't bow, the one who didn't sell out, the one who stayed true to the silent voice within. In the quiet hours of the night, even your enemies will think of you with a begrudging respect. They will wonder what it feels like to be as free as you are. And in that wondering, you have achieved the ultimate victory, you have occupied their minds without ever having to fire a single shot. We conclude this 41st lesson with a final truth: the most unforgettable person you will ever encounter must be the man you see in the mirror. If you are a stranger to yourself, you will always be a shadow to the world. Christopher wants you to stop seeking to leave a mark on the world and start leaving a mark on your own soul. Forge a character that is so sharp, so defined, and so absolute that even you are in awe of it. In the year 2026, as the digital noise grows louder and the sea of mediocrity rises, your internal lighthouse must shine with a brilliance that cannot be ignored. Do not ask for permission to be great. Do not wait for an invitation to lead. Simply exist with such intensity that the world has no choice but to acknowledge your presence. The architecture of influence is not built with bricks and mortar, but with the unbreakable threads of your will. You are the architect, the sovereign, and the memory that will not fade. As you walk through the crowded streets, remember that you carry within you the silence of the ages and the strength of the mountains. You are not just passing through this time, you are defining it. Stay sharp. Stay silent. Stay unforgettable. The world may forget 1,000 kings, but it will never forget a man who was truly the master of himself. The lesson is complete. The path is open. Walk it as if the stars themselves are watching your every step.